Welcome to Module 1. Thanks for taking a look at it. In this module, as part of a larger Excel course, you will be introduced to working with multiple sheets and entering information and formatting that information. It's a guided walkthrough where there's a little bit of explanation. There are supplementary videos along with it, but this module is the overall project to do and complete for the first part of the fuller Excel course. So enjoy. If you have any questions or have things that you'd like to see added to it, or general feedback in general on the course or this module, please feel free to contact me on LinkedIn or Instagram. That information is over to my right hand side there. So yeah, enjoy. What we do is add more information to this, keep the list going, and we'd have our basic contact list for those three brands. And we've gone over some basic layouts and structuring of Excel. So I hope that you find this helpful as a good reference. If there are things that you would like me to expand upon, leave me a note in the comments and I'll certainly respond in one way, shape, or form. So let's say we want to make a list of names for each brand in a company that will want to manage the lists separately. So we'll say that we'll have three brands. So the first brand will be brand A, the second brand will be brand B, and the third brand will be brand C. And we decide that we are going to have a worksheet for each brand to organize it a little bit. So we'll call sheet 1. If we want to change the name of a sheet, we can just double click on it and then type. And we'll call it brand A. And let's say we wanted to do brand B for sheet 2. So if we double click and type, we can do that. If we right click on it, we get a list of options. Rename is also one of them. That is not what I wanted to name it though. And we'll call this brand C. And we don't want sheet 3 right now. We just want brand A, brand B, and brand C. So we'll take sheet 3 and we can delete that. And if we right click on it, we'll see the submenu pop up, and delete is one of the options. So we will delete that. So we have brand A, brand B, and brand C. We know that we're going to be wanting to get a list of names for each, and we're going to want to be able to combine these later on. So we have to indicate that what brand each list is with. So we'll just include a column that's called brand. And then we will put in customer name, customer address. And now we're going to make the same thing over on brand B and then over on brand C. So if I wanted to though, instead of doing that for each one, I can type into both brand B and brand C and brand A if I wanted to, and have the same values go. So we'll just do brand B and brand C for now to show you. If I click on brand B and I hold down the control key and click on brand C's worksheet, both of these worksheets are selected now. You'll see that they're white, and brand A is not white. Therefore, it is not selected in this group. And so if I click on brand B, click on brand C, same field. So if I click on, I'm highlighted in brand B, it's a little bit hard to tell which one. You can kind of see the flow down. And I type in brand here. If I click on brand C, you'll see that brand is also there, and my cell's at A2. So if I click on cell E7, I'm in brand C still. Now I click on brand B, I'm in cell E7. So what this is showing me is that whatever I do while these two are selected at the same time in one, it's going to do it in the other as well. So that means that just as I typed in brand here, I can type in customer name, and I can type in city and state for my customer contact information. So I've got brand, customer, city, state in C, and I've got it in B. So we're all set up, and now if I click on, I can ungroup them by right-clicking and clicking, selecting in the submenu Ungroup Sheets, and then I'm back to single. So if I'm brand C and I click on cell B5 and I click back on brand B, I'm still on cell B2, which shows that we're disconnected. All right, so now I've got brand C has brand, customer, city, and state. Brand B has brand, customer, city, and state. But if I go to brand A, if you remember, I used brand, customer, and address, maybe? Customer address, yeah. So now if I want to combine these later on, like I said, I wanted to combine them, I'm not going to be able to do that easily because I've got different columns. I've got brand, customer name, customer address, which I'm going to be at, which has, first of all, has 3 columns, compared each for brand B and brand C, which have 4 columns. So if I, let's just do a little example here. So if we wanted to add a sheet, we can click that plus sign, new sheet, and then let's just type example so we don't get confused. And if you want to move sheets around, we can drag them. If you click and hold on them, when you let go, it'll move it to a different spot. So in this, so like we said, if I've got brand A, brand B, and brand C, and I want to combine that with these, and then if we, so it looks like it works, right? But remember, we need to format because we've got that spillover. This is a good example of where that can screw up. So if I highlight all of the cells, the range of cells, in this case actually it would be the range of columns. If I highlight the range of columns and do that double click trick to widen, I can see right there that, all right, so if I'm combining these, which would be adding one table to the other table, and imagine all of these had records in between. This isn't going to work. I mean, column A lines up, you've got brand, column B lines up, you've got customer name, you've got customer address, but that does not line up with city, and then you've got state, which doesn't even have a state. So we need to make these the same. We either need to change our brand B and brand C needs to either change to one called customer address, or brand A needs to change to 2 columns, city and state. I think city and state is going to be more useful, generally speaking, and easier to break down and easier to capture than customer address, which is slightly vague. So we will go ahead and change brand A to match brand B and C. So we can, anytime you want to delete a worksheet, we can do that by right-clicking and selecting delete. And we get this Microsoft Excel will permanently delete this sheet. Do you want to continue? Once you delete the sheet, you're not going to be able to undo it. So if you have information on here like we do, you're not going to be able to get that back. So that is why this prompt comes up. It's just making sure you don't lose information that you want. So be careful with that. It's typically not too much of a worry. I don't run into it often where I accidentally am deleting a sheet like that. But it's possible, so just keep your eyes open for it. And just hit delete if that's what you want to do. And so, again, we're addressing getting this customer address to match city and state. So we could just write that in there, but we can also, if we know that everything else, we know that we want everything to match anyway, and we know that brand B and C match, what we can do is copy all of that, or since we're working as a header row, and just for consistency's sake, if you don't know necessarily how many rows you're going to have on here, but you can select the whole row and copy the whole row this way. Either way, what we're going to do is to copy cells, we select the cell or range of cells or row, and there's a couple different ways we can do it. If you like keyboard shortcuts, you can hit Control C, and once you hit Control C, you're going to see this moving line around the cell or the range or the row. It depends on what you select. So I have the cell selected here. If I hit Escape, it's going to unselect it. So I can't, there's nothing for me to paste now. If I highlight all of those and I hit Control C, you'll see the whole range is highlighted, so that tells you what's copied. And if I do that with the row, same deal, it's the whole thing. So once you select what you want to select, and you hit Control C, that will copy it, or you can right click and there's in the menu that pops up, there's copy. That will also do it. And then you could also use the ribbon up top, which we'll get into the ribbon at a different point. But if you click on the ribbon up top, the copy button, it will also copy it. So this is B. Brand C we know is all set, and what we want to do is bring this over to A. So if I just select that full row that is already copied, I can tell that the row is copied, the number is highlighted, and it's going all the way across. And then I want to paste it in here. I can use my shortcut key, Control V. So if I hold down Control and hit V, now that's copied over. If I can see brand B, and that's still selected, so I can copy that on another row if I wanted to as well. So let's say I wanted to add another brand in here. If I hit New Sheet, and I believe this is still selected for copy, and I want to paste in here. Let's say I wanted to paste though, instead of Control V, if I right click and paste options, so I can either paste values, different ways to paste. We don't need to worry about that right now though. Paste, and then we've done it that way. So, or if I want to do the ribbon again, we can see that brand B is still highlighted, and then I want to use up here. That's not it. This is Format Painter. This paste here is what we want, and you can see that Control V that I had mentioned as a shortcut is called out in the little drop down, but we'll just click this and we've got that. So now brand B, brand C, brand A all match, and I can hit Escape again to take that off of the clipboard, which isn't a big deal. If it is still selected, as you do other things, it will unselect it automatically. And if I want to get rid of these two sheets that I just created as examples, I can right click and hit delete. I can also, again, because I can select multiple sheets, if I hold down select, both of those are grouped together and I can delete them. And I get the message again, permanently delete this sheet. Do you want to continue? There. And now I've got brand A, brand B, and brand C. And oh, what's happened here? Customer brand B. Ah, that's what's happened. So I was scrolling through here, and I thought this would be it, but another note to the resizing of columns. And maybe you were going along with this and you noticed it, but it looks like it's just saying customer in here, but it is actually saying customer name. And if I compare that to brand A, that's accurate. This says customer name in here, and this just says customer. Well, it says customer name in here, but it looks like customer. But it's because we don't have these widened out. So we can format all of the columns in all of the sheets at the same time by selecting all of them. So if I wanted to select brand A and brand C and hold down select, I can do that. Or I can, if I want to select this whole range, if I hold down shift and then click with the mouse, I'll select that whole range from brand A through brand C. So if I had other sheets in here, it'll select everything here. And let's get rid of these. All right, so I want to select all of these sheets and I want to resize the columns as we've done. Double click, and now we should see customer name in all of them in the proper sizing. There. Now we've resized everything, we've copied stuff, we've seen the layout, we've pasted things. The last thing I will just show you with some a quick walkthrough with this ribbon here. I guess with the ribbon and formatting. So let's say we want to format these headers. So we know that these are going to be lists. So as we put in information, we are going to want to be able to easily see the name of whatever the column header against whatever the data is going to be. So if, let's say brand A, customer name is Joe, the city is Franklin, and the state is Illinois. So if we look at this, first of all, we can see that we're cut off on stuff because city was formatted to just be for the city. That's all the data that was in that column. But now that we have Franklin in that column, it's too short. So we can double click and we're organized again, or we can see it all again. So we're looking at this list, but we can't tell right away in the list that this is the header. Things on this home ribbon that we'll run into. But for now, we'll just focus on the formatting part of it for the font. So let's bring the ribbon back up so that we can see it and point to where we need to go. So we click on that home and select always show ribbon. And so we just want to make the header all be bold, let's say. So remember though, we want to do this for all of them. So let's get in the habit of selecting all of this. If we're going to do that, we know that they're the same, so we can just highlight. We know that the same information is there, so we can just highlight that. And then let's just click bold. And then we've got brand, customer, name, city, and state. And we can see it's kind of crowded on customer name and state. So if we do our highlighting or our adjustment again, we've got that. So now we've got a differentiation. So maybe we also would want to make it look a little bit nicer on here if we plan on seeing it a lot or presenting it someplace, as opposed to just having a little data source of reference. Maybe it's being put into a nice report, just being copied and pasted. So what we can do is maybe make a underline for all of it. So we, rather than underline each word, each column header, that's going to look different than if we make just a full line going across. So if we've got this underline now, we clicked on U, and then we can uncheck it to make it ununderlined. So any of these options, you'll be able to see what's selected. If B is, we have bold selected, so B is selected or like highlighted around. If I click on the U, you can see the underline's been selected, so it's highlighted there. You can change the type of underline if we wanted to maybe make it a little bit bolder. But we don't want that. Instead, we're just going to use the border to do a tool, to draw a border, so an underline. So bottom borders by default selected. And if I click on that and then click away, I've got a line going through, or going on the bottom of these cells here. And if I wanted to change what that looks like, I can mess around with that border in the border tool. You can make it a top border, a left border, right border instead. You can add multiple borders. You can draw whatever borders you want in there. It's something to play around with. And you can change the width or the look of the border. You can even change the border color and all that too. All right. And then let's just say we also wanted to make this name stand out a little bit more. We can change the background color of the cell. So we'll change it to get a nice light blue. Let's make it a dark blue. And then we can change the font color as well. And we'll change that to white. There. So now all we need to do is add more information to this, and keep the list going, and we'd have our basic contact list for those three brands. And we've gone over some basic layouts and structuring of Excel. So I hope that you find this helpful as a good reference. If there are things that you would like me to expand upon, leave me a note in the comments and I'll certainly respond in one way, shape, or form.